This Asian take on spaghetti will truly satisfy. Perfect for any busy weekday. It's quick, cheap, and incredibly tasty. Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Duties Behind the Camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. It's back to school time here for us, and that means September, it just gets crazy busy compared to the summer. We are one man down. Our family has moved from a family of 4 to a family of 3 because we just dropped our daughter off at university across the country. But it doesn't mean that I'm cooking less because we thought, oh, maybe our son will eat just her portion and be satisfied. But that is not the case. He is growing up and he is eating so much more. So we are having to cook a lot more. We are making a variation of my recipe, Asian ground beef spaghetti, that can be found in my cookbook, Daily Special. We're just gonna eliminate some of the steps, change some of the ingredients, and still come up with a quick recipe for a weekday. I'm starting off with my aromatics today. And so I'm gonna start with the onion actually. 1 onion that I'm going to chop. And I like to keep the butt on the bottom of the onion so that when I am chopping, it just makes it easier. This is a little tip so it doesn't fall apart. It gives you something to hold at the end so you can get all the way to the bottom. There, see? I have 4 cloves of garlic. I know these are super potent because they came out of my aunt's garden. So if you want to add more or less, it's totally up to you. I want it really garlicky this time because I'm not adding ginger. And I'm just breaking the skin so that I can chop them up and remove the skin. I don't know if you can see how juicy these garlic cloves are. I find the garlic that you get in the supermarkets are always so dry, right? Because they're imported or I don't know what. Fresh garlic out of the garden is the best. They are so tasty and I guess strong in garlic flavor. So if you're using regular garlic, you might have to add a few more cloves. But again, you can adjust it to however much you like. All right, you can mince it up as fine as you like. You can even put it through a garlic press if you like. But when I'm cooking a garlic in a wok and in oil, I like the pieces to be a little bit bigger than through a garlic press because I find that the garlic will otherwise burn more easily. So that's good for me. I have 2 green onion and I'm going to plant these. I continue to plant these if I have to buy green onion. And they will grow back. You can also put them in a glass of water and they will continue to grow as well. But I find that if you put it in the garden, they're a little bit more hardy. So I'm just gonna chop up this green onion. This is for the end when we add a little bit of herbs for freshness. This along with the cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, you can totally leave it out and just use green onion. But I would suggest adding something fresh. And just a small bunch of cilantro. And again, you can use as little as much as you like, or you can even just not use it at all if you don't like it. Probably about a 1/4 cup. So I have my pasta going now, and I've got 9 minutes to finish up. I have 1½ cups of beef broth. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. Shaoxing wine is a cooking rice wine. And if you don't have Shaoxing wine, we've been known to use bourbon. Sherry is a good option, red wine. If you don't want to use alcohol, just completely eliminate it. Don't use it at all. I'm also adding 1 tablespoon of regular soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of dark soy sauce. And dark soy sauce will give it an extra brown color, but also the flavor is a little bit different. If you don't have dark soy sauce, you can just use the regular soy sauce. And 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Now oyster sauce will give it some umami, some extra flavor, It really does make a difference in this dish, but if you don't want to use oyster sauce, you can use fish sauce instead, or just use soy sauce. It won't be a very complicated flavor. I guess it'll just be quite neutral. So the oyster sauce, actually there are people who don't like oysters, but it doesn't really taste like oysters. But there are also mushroom versions of it if you're allergic to oysters. And adding also 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And the brown sugar will help to balance out the flavors. All right, we're going to get our wok heated up on medium-high heat. I like to use my wok because it's easy for me to move the ingredients all around, but if you don't have a wok, you can use a frying pan. Once you see that wisp of smoke, add 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. I'm using avocado oil today. You can use a neutral oil like vegetable oil, canola oil, peanut oil. I'm just gonna do half of my beef at a time because I'm using 1.5 pounds today. And see, I didn't do anything with the beef. It just came out of my freezer. I defrosted it. And we're gonna put half of it in here. If I can maneuver it out. We're just gonna let that sear for about a minute before moving it around. Searing it will give it some added flavor. And we're gonna flip it over. Give the other side a sear. I'm just gonna start breaking it up and make sure that it cooks all the way through. Now with the 1.5 pounds of meat, it's not one meal. It'll be enough for leftovers. And because it's back to school, they will have, my son will have enough for lunch tomorrow, and there may be enough for us to have lunch tomorrow too. All right, I'm gonna move this into a bowl. Okay, adding the rest of my meat. And repeating the same thing, just make sure to sear it on one side first. Right, searing the other side. Okay, second batch done, putting that in the bowl as well. I turned off the heat because I can't move fast enough. Okay, turning my wok back on, adjusting it to medium. Okay, adding my onions. I'm going to cook this for about a minute until the onions are softened. Another tip is if you want your aromatics to cook faster, then chop them up more finely, and then it won't take as long. Okay, I'm going to push the onions to the side a little bit, and I'm going to add my garlic. And the garlic doesn't take long. It takes about 30 seconds, just until it's fragrant and you can smell it. Oh my goodness, it smells so good, you guys. Okay, we're adding our sauce. Okay, while that is coming up to a simmer, I'm going to make a cornstarch slurry. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Adding about 2 tablespoons of water. It has to be room temperature water or cold water, otherwise it won't dissolve. Now you can add as little or as much as you like, depending on how thick you want your sauce. So the sauce is going to coat the spaghetti. Okay, once your sauce starts to simmer, keep the sauce moving and pour in your cornstarch. Maybe half at a time just to make sure that it doesn't get too thick. It's already thickening up. Looks so good. You see how it's glossy, translucent. It smells amazing. We're going to add our beef back in. I'm going to go get my spaghetti. Just let the beef heat through. All right, so I started with 1 pound of uncooked spaghetti, and this is how much it gave me. We're going to cook it in here for about a minute after we've tossed it all around so that it absorbs some of the sauce. Now, I cook the spaghetti in salt water just like I would pasta regularly. If you don't want to use spaghetti, you can use noodles, totally up to you. But I find, you know, the spaghetti pasta is easier to find maybe for some of you. Okay, once you let your pasta cook for about a minute, I'm going to turn off the heat. Add 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. I like to add the sesame oil at the end because if you cook the sesame oil, sometimes it will, well, always, it will burn off that sesame flavor, so there's no point. So adding it at the end, you can smell the sesame. We're gonna add our green onions and cilantro. And toss that in there for freshness. And that's it, guys. Does it look amazing or what? You can probably get this meal on the table 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how quick you are in the kitchen. But get your pasta going first, or get the water boiling for your pasta anyways, and then stop chopping your ingredients, getting your ingredients ready to go. And then once the pasta is done cooking, add it to your sauce. And that's it, that's dinner. Let's get this on a plate. All right, let's get a plate going. Chopsticks so you don't get the meat. Right, put on some leftover cilantro as garnish. And that's it. Are you all ready for
the taste? Now, who doesn't love a plate of wholesome spaghetti with meat sauce? But when you like mash it up with Asian flavors and profile, it's good. This is gonna get messy, guys. The sauce is so umami, and it coats the pasta beautifully. The flavors aren't what you expect. It's just really good. If you're looking for a quick and easy meal that packs a huge punch of flavor, this is it.
Awesome, thanks, dude. Just the way I like it, quick and simple and extra tasty. For this recipe, you can find it in my cookbook, Daily Special, or on my website, FLO'S.com.